Hey, so another day. So essentially, what I'm doing today is I'm doing the Copilot seat. So previously I fitted the base. Now I've got to take the base out, put the seat on the base, make sure that it slides up and down, and actually fix it onto the base. Now this is a temporary fixture because the seats will have to come out again because it'll have to be. I'm gonna put new foam in it, foam it the way I want it, or get it foamed the way I want it. And then I'll upholster it as well. But I've got to do both, or all four seats. So for now, I'm going to do the Copilot. I cheated a little bit. I already did the pilot seat. So I'm going to try and show you what that looks like. So the lighting in the plane is obviously not quite as good, but you can see there is the seat. It's in rigid and it folds forward. There's more than enough space for anybody that sits in the back to step in. And then that's the rest of it. It slides up and down. In fact, I'll try and show you quickly. It's just a lever at the front that you pull there, and then it moves back. And it does the same forward as well. It probably needs a little bit of aircraft grease just to make sure it's a little bit smoother. But the seating position's absolutely fine. What I would have done today is I would have done the rudder pedals, put them in place to see where they are, but I'm going to have to get a different assembly for that. So tomorrow I'll speak to Velocity and get a new one. So for now, I'm going to try and set you guys up here. So do a time lapse of, first of all, me taking the base out, drilling the base, and putting the seat base on, the bottom bit of the seat on, and then putting the seat back, and then putting all of this back in there. So wish me luck. Hope I don't swear too much. The eagle-eyed of you might have noticed that the seat is just ever so slightly slanting away from me. I will correct that with spacers at the base. Just lift it up a little bit. I'm not going to bother with that just yet because what I want to prove at the moment, this will prove for me. It'll show me where the quadrant needs to go. It'll show me where the speed brake needs to go and all the other stuff. Now, bearing in mind, I am setting this plane up for me. So I'm 5'11". Everything will be set up for 5'11", rather than for 6 foot or 6'2", or whatever the case might be, or 4'5", you know. Although those people will be able to fly the plane, they'll just have to reach for controls a little bit. But as it's my plane, I'm going to do what I want to do. Right, now that we've got the base out, base is on the workbench right here. I'm just going to drill 4 holes in it, mark that on the base, and then you'd see in the time lapse that I measured the distance from the edge of the rail all the way to the keel, because I want to make sure that the seat runs parallel to that and keeps away from the keel. So that's 3¼ inch. It's slightly more than what I originally measured, but the rails that I'm mounting it on is slightly in. So I need to make sure that I want at least about 1/2 inch to 1 inch space there, probably about 1/2 inch. So I'll make sure that the rail starts 1/2 inch from the base. So this is quite boring. You just see me drilling and stuff like that. So I'm just going to put it on time lapse again, and hopefully it'll get edited so that it's slightly enjoyable for you. So unfortunately, all my seat bases was previously covered. I don't like the upholstery at all. So I have to, in any case, take the upholstery off to put the seat bases on. Not quite sure how he was intending on fitting it, but that doesn't matter. The reality is I've got to take the seat bases and the foam out in any case, because I want to do it slightly differently, which is fine. So taking the seat base off, you can see the seat base is literally just stapled on everywhere, or the upholstery is just stapled on everywhere. It's just time consuming. You just got to go through it. I just take some side cutters and pull them out. Side cutters have quite a sharp beak to get them out. That and a small screwdriver. Clearly, I'm bored of doing this. So you're going to be bored as well. So I'll be back as soon as this is done. So, we've got a clean seat base. It's accessible from the inside. The actual mechanism has been drilled. So, now it's just a question of, excuse me for the slamming that on the floor there, making sure, and that's the important bit, because this is where the keel is. So, sorry, there was a slight interruption for coffee. When the wife makes me coffee, I take the advantage, definitely. Okay, so we know that it's 3 1/4. We want this edge to be 1/2 inch from the keel. So therefore, we've got to subtract the 1/2 inch from 3 1/4, which gives us 2 3/4, and then it's just a question of setting it up at 2 3/4. Now, make sure that you set it up with the inside edge and the outside edge there. Same on this side. Put it there, and then just eyeball it nicely. Okay, and then measure it again on the front. There we go. Oops. 2 3/4. While I've got it there, I'm going to grab a Sharpie and just mark it. For those of you that have noticed before, I've moved away from the pink Sharpie, although it will make a return at some point. It just so happens that I've got a black one in my hand, or close by, I should say. That's it. And now, I can mark it nicely all the way around. Why do I mark it when it's already in place? That's a good question. The answer to that is, if something happens and it shakes out of place, I know exactly where to put it back. And I don't have to struggle. I don't like struggling. Okay, and then just put the drill through there. Just drill through it quickly. Just the one side. Now, bearing in mind that there's a foam core in the middle here, I'm not drilling through the foam core, I'm just drilling through the outside fiberglass at this point. Okay, that's in place. I can take this off now because I know it'll go back where it was. And then it's just a question of drilling through the whole thing. I don't care too much about the foam in the back because, as I stated earlier, I'm going to change the foam. So it doesn't really matter. Okay. Now you will also see that I am using just normal bolts. That's absolutely fine. I'm using square catchers on the inside. That's a temporary thing. I'm going to put these in temporarily, put it on the base, fit it in the plane, make sure that it all works. Then when it comes time to re-prepare the bases, when I take the base out, I'm going to spray the bases in any case, probably black, same as the mechanism, and these I will epoxy in at that point so they become studs, just like me. You heard it here first. Okay, so for now, it's very simple. I don't know if you guys can see properly. I'll try to get you a nice angle. You can see there, this just goes in there. Oops. This just goes in there. And then my favorite friend, just a little hammer, just give it a couple of taps so that square actually digs into the fiberglass. And then we move to the next one. And as we know, there's 4 of them. If I can find the... there it is. There we go. Just use a small hammer, not a big one, so you don't damage the seat base. Okay. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. Just getting to this is not as easy as it sounds. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on time lapse again because this is getting a bit boring. Okay, for those of you that have noticed that I'm using split washers that grips the nut rather than nylocks, because I'm going to be taking the seat base on and off, in my opinion, nylock will wear out. And I don't like putting nylock on and off the whole time, so I'm using these. And I'll see if in the long term I'm going to change them for nylocks. I mean, these bolts are standard 1/4 inch by 20 risers. They're just an inch. I think they're 1.25 inches or 1.5 inches. Yeah, okay. So they're not difficult to get hold of, and it's also not difficult to get hold of the nylock version of them. Very standard. That's one of the advantages of building your own plane, and certainly building a Velocity. They really thought about making it as simple for us builders as possible, and I really appreciate that. I'm not sure exactly who was involved, but certainly the swings made it easy for us, and the design in or put in production an incredibly nice looking and simple to build plane. Let's hope it flies as well as it looks, right? Okay, so we're pretty much done here. I'm gonna have to transfer you back to the plane, and it is literally just the reverse of what we just had, so I'm not gonna bother showing you putting the brace on, or putting the base on, I should say. I'm not gonna show you that again, because it's just the reverse of it. And then I'll show you what the seats look like. Okay, so this is the interesting part. Both seats are now in. Show you quickly, both seats are now in. They're all the way back, so I might have to move them forward a little bit. But I want to see whether I can climb in and over without breaking my neck. Okay, so here we go. One leg in, up. Come in. Up. And this works surprisingly well. I'm in my plane, I'm sitting in the co-pilot seat, and I got a smile on my face. That's awesome. And to get out, it's just simply pop over there. Yep. So we're off to do the back seats in a minute, now that the front seats are done, and I have to say it changes the whole look and feel of the plane. I feel like I'm getting somewhere, and it's just starting to look and feel like an actual plane. And I know there's a lot of work left. I mean, I'm under no illusion, but it just feels like it's starting to feel like a plane. I can start doing the fun stuff now. And don't get me wrong, I'm fully aware that the outside is still a lot of work. But once I'm done inside, then I can start focusing on the outside stuff. And yes, I still have to put the carbon struts in, and I'll probably have to take the seats out for that. But I'm gonna give it a go in any case and see what happens. Now, if we look at the back here, the seats, because at the back here where my hand is, I can't see my hand, where my hand is there, the seats will have to sit on top of this. What I'm going to have to do is run a level over both of these and then measure from the floor up to make the supports for the seat. The seat's got a support there, and I'll put one at the back as well. And I think that'll put me in a position that I can just mount the seats directly on top of it. Maybe I'll see exactly how I do it. The book says all you have to do is put a support on the left side and the right side with about 3/8 or 1/2 inch foam, and then you wrap that in Triax, both sides, so it's nice and solid, which is exactly what I'm going to do, both sides. And like I said, I might put a backing plate on it as well, just in case you drop something down under it, that it doesn't roll all the way through and it's a pain to get to. So that's kind of the next step. I want to shape the foam today, measure the foam, shape it, and glass at least the one side. So tomorrow I can just flip it over and glass the other side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'll probably end up just covering the seats and then sanding this down because it looks horrible and it's driving me insane. And it's quite sharp, so it hurts me every time I get in. Once I've sanded this down, I will put the door rubber in as well. You can see there the door rubbers just seal on the sides all the way around so that if you do grab it, you don't hurt your hands as you get in and out the plane. Again, just to sit in it and make plane noises. That's always good fun.